Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum, pasito tum.
Hello, this is your Willie. Welcome to a classic modern reviews. Sunset Boulevard, Birdman. What do they have in common? Show business. Crazy show business. When I heard Michael Keaton was coming back on Birdman, in terms of making good movies again, I was excited. I grew up watching most of his movies and I was pumped to see him once again. It would be directed by the one and only who made bears look like the epitome of evil, Alejandro Iñárritu! Iñárritu! That's how you pronounce his name, not Iñárritu. Chunga! It's not even that hard to pronounce anyways! Look at this! Not even Word knows how to spell his name correctly.
Inconceivable!
I know! It's unbelievable! Learn how to pronounce! Well, anyways, it would go on winning Best Picture and left an impact to most viewers. It was dark, twisted, emotional, and blurred the line between fantasy and reality. But while I was watching it, I couldn't help but to notice another film that had the same tone, theme, and story to this film. No, not you, get out of here. Blvd. From the 1950 classics, Sunset Boulevard. Unlike Boulevard, which lost Best Picture to another one similar to it, this one likewise struck an impact among viewers as it is one of my favorite films from the classics. It was dark, twisted, emotional, and blurred the line between fantasy and reality. So I'll be comparing both films to see how much similar they are and how much different they are, concluding how do they stand alone as a solo films and which one is the better.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
So while we're at it, let's get to know these two nuts, Gloria Swanson as Norma Desmond and Michael Keaton as Reagan. Now these two are the perfect couple for how crazy and yet depressing they are. Both are washed up actors that try to make a comeback to a new generation they are not well familiar with. One is a former silent film star, the other one is a former superhero from a franchise called Birdman. They're equally unsympathetic characters that you find yourself sympathizing for. They were bigger stars that fell into obscurity, which makes them question their own relevance, something that almost everyone can identify with. The fear and doubt, whether we have a purpose or not, do we matter, are we loved? These are identifiable fears to see their tragic side of the situation and feel sorry for them, even when they're at their worst.
That wasn't an accident. What do you mean? I made it happen.
And as they say, ladies first, let's look into the character of Norma Desmond. I can't remember a time when I wanted to punch a lady in the face and also give her a hug at the same time, and that's the impression Norma Desmond leaves. She's maniacal and egocentric, but very vulnerable. She's rich and yet very lonely. She's cruel and overpossessive, but also has aspirations, even though they're just delusions.
We'll be working again, won't we, Chief? We'll make our greatest picture.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk to you
It's a
about.
good script, isn't it?
Michael Keaton is more settled with his ego, as he tries to hide his selfishness from the public eye, but when feeling he's had enough, he can explode with insults and put people down.
There's like labels. You just label everything. That's so fucking lazy. You're a lazy fucker.
He's a terrible father and husband and pretends he's in the acting business for the sake of art. But inside has desires of admiration and praise from everyone else, even though he tries to come to terms that it's all about the art. With Norma Desmond, it's all about the praise and glory.
And why they still write me fan letters every day? Why do they beg me for my photographs? Why? Because they want to see me, Norma Desmond.
There's so much audacity on her. She worships and views herself as a goddess. The admiration from everyone else is her drug. Just listen to how great she boldly claims to be.
You're Norma Desmond. Used to be in silent pictures, used to be big.
I am big. It's the pictures that got small.
On top of that, she's a lot of fun to watch perform. You can watch her scenes in mute and still be entertained by her facial expressions and body movement. She strikes you with those big pupping eyes that only speaks maliciousness. But she can be a kindly mother figure that is quick from changing humors. From a humble person you want her to do well in the end.
Oh, I don't care about the money. I just want to work again. You don't know what it means to know that you want me.
To once again being a prideful woman.
And remember, darling, I don't work before 10 in the morning and never after 4:30 in the afternoon.
What's so interesting about them is how personal their stories are. There is so much of their real-life careers that is satire, some hitting right at home that you don't know what is real anymore and what is not, which fits perfect to the tone about losing yourself to an illusion that is not real. Even the director Alejandro stated that he wasn't gonna film the movie without Keaton. In fact, people used to think the actress Gloria Swanson was in fact Norma Desmond. How she was, how she felt in the movie, some thought it was legit. In real life, the actress was a silent film star. But after the talkies arrived, many silent film actors faded into obscurity or were left out of a job. Almost similar to how Norma is a victim herself to the new changes in show business. In Birdman, when you have Michael Keaton as a famous superhero from the early 90s, you know it's referring to his portrayal as Batman. How after he left the project, he went in a tough spot from being in not-so-good movies to unmemorable performances. Glad that he's made a comeback and has done pretty good so far, which is ironic since Birdman is about making a comeback. But like both films, that comeback comes with a price, risking their own sanity to find meaning and purpose in an industry that can be cruel to them only to become a twisted parody of themselves. Now for an actor to play an actor can be a tough role. However, which one of them played it more human? As performance-wise, both of them are great. Gloria Swanson is great in her line deliverances, bringing some of her silent film background into it. However, with Michael Keaton, it can be a lot more demanding. He has to play the douchey actor, the crazy man, the Birdman in these long, continuous takes. That may seem like a tough challenge to pull. But who is more human out of these two? That would be Michael Keaton, because he has his emotions under control. Whatever state of mind he has, he keeps it all inside his head for himself. And on top of that, he seems like someone you can have a normal, sane conversation. While if you had a conversation with Norma, it would be all about herself. As a character, she's intriguing to study, but if I had to choose who I would hang out with and have a cohesive conversation, that would probably be Regan as the more human. So now that you got to know them, how did they interact with the supporting cast? The actors in both films are good and interesting, but they also affect their own protagonist in a negative way as they progress them to the path of madness. In Birdman, Regan is affected verbally by everyone reminding him of his glorious days now behind, mostly to put him down, which tempts him even more to give in to his insane alter ego of his.
This is my chance to finally do some work that actually means something.
It means something to who? You had a career, Dad, before the third comic book movie. Before people started to forget who was inside that bird costume.
In Sunset Boulevard, she's affected based on the actions of her surroundings. They don't try to hurt her, but that's how it comes out in the end. Feeding her up with lies, with envy, with false hopes of love and illusions that turn her into the monster she later becomes. But I find the cast in Birdman more interesting. In a way, they are parts of Regan. They come with their own struggles, but they also help progress the tone of the story. One is an actor obsessed on being too realistic, but has no true identity outside of his performance. That can also be Regan not having a true identity outside of his superhero character. The other one is his stone daughter, who thinks is invisible to others, which is the exact opposite to his father, who seeks to be visible to everyone else. But unlike the cast in Birdman, who seem to serve more as symbolisms rather than people, in here the cast seems more fleshed out with their own problems and agendas, which makes them more real and more identifiable.
However, by then, I'd started concocting a little plot of my own.
How the madness is presented in both films are very distinctively. In Sunset Boulevard, it is told by narration from William Holden's point of view, a struggling screenplay writer that falls into the hands of Norma's obsessive love as he tries to take advantage of it, while also telling how dark and twisted the story gets.
The last rites for that hairy old chimp, performed with the utmost seriousness. as if she were laying to rest an only child.
In Birdman, it is told from Reagan's head as the superhero, trying to resist him but getting deeper into the insanity.
Dead.
We are not dead.
Please, just stay dead.
We are not dead.
Stop saying we! There is no we!
The Birdman is pretty much its own character of itself, always speaking inside his head, having surreal fantasies of power and glory that later become his true reality. He makes him feel like he's nothing, and at the same time, feel like he's everything.
So you're not a great actor, who cares? You're much more than that. You tower over these other theater douchebags.
He's the embodiment of his own personal demons, always tempting him and twisting his mind. It's ironic since he's supposed to be a hero and instead comes out more like a villain. As well as Sunset Boulevard drives itself with dark humor irony, everyone gets what they want, but not exactly what they wanted.
But in every performance, they all come along with their own smoke and mirrors, which I'm talking about the effects in both films, the black and white versus the camera continuation. Which one did it better?
The one thing that everyone remembers the most about Birdman is how it never cuts to the following scene. It always follows where the actors go from the back until it gets to the point it wants to reach, and repeats it again, seeming like a long, continuous shot, as if you were there from behind following them. As much as it looks impressive, it's not anything groundbreaking. Alfred Hitchcock used this technique before in his 1948 thriller of The Rope, and that film came out 2 years before Sunset Boulevard did. But all I could think of was, what was the purpose of using this technique? Is it because it takes place on Broadway and wants to have a theater play feel in it? Alright, fancy. I can see how the drums are used to tell the story of the character feeling pressured, but unless I'm missing something, I didn't see what added into the story or into the character's psyche other than feeling just gimmicky. The black and white in Sunset Boulevard is simple but effective, coming from the noir era which knew how to use this technique so well. It adds a gothic atmosphere and a dark tone to the story. It's Beauty and the Beast meets Misery. It helps narrate the mood the characters go through without saying how they feel. Just by this look alone, you can tell she has completely lost it. There's no sense of reasoning, and it's all told not just from the performance, but from the black and white. It also gives it a tragic symbolism into the story. There's a scene where she comes back to the studio after years of exile. Her older colleagues recognize her and give her the spotlight and all the attention she was looking for, only to have that sense of feeling loved once again fade away, along with her spotlight disappear, reflecting how her life has become an empty shell of herself. And it's all told from such astonishing visuals that you feel even more sorry for her. Now I will say, Birdman can be inspiring for its camera technique, but it's like the old saying, everything looks better in black and white.
And now leads me to the story. What are they about and how are they different?
Both movies are basically about movies that take place in different settings, one being in Hollywood, the other one being on Broadway, as they break the four walls, satiring popular directors and films of their time.
Oh, one of the Message kids. Just a story won't do. You'd have turned down Gone with the Wind.
No, that was me. I said, who wants to see a Civil War picture?
How about Jeremy Renner?
Who?
Jeremy Renner. He was nominated.
He was the Hurt Locker guy. He's an Avenger.
But if you put these two films together, it's about the entire film industry. It's about the cameras, the acting, the screenplay writers, the lost art of films of the past, the satire of modern films, directors, and also critics. And for someone that does film reviews as a hobby, to see how critics are criticized mercilessly in here, it's pretty scarring.
A man becomes a critic when he cannot be an artist, the same way that a man becomes an informer when he cannot be a soldier.
I just wanted to be in the next Mary Poppins Broadway! Now they have to give it to this blue alien guy! Can you let us dream for once?
But the most intriguing part is how they take the satire to a whole nother level. While Birdman is about a satire, Sunset Boulevard is a satire, leaving Easter eggs everywhere around the corner. There's a scene where she's playing poker with some former silent film stars, when in reality, they were real-life silent film stars. There's a cameo from Cecil B. DeMille, a real-life director from the silent film era, and known for directing both classic Ten Commandments, filming at the spot one of his real-life movies called Samson and Delilah from 1949. Remember Max, the creepy butler that later reveals that he directed Norma Desmond's films? Well, in reality, not only was he, Eric von Stroman, a director, but he did work with her in this silent picture called Queen Kelly, a film that supposedly ruined his directorial career. Later, there's a scene where she's watching an old silent film of herself. Now, which one could that be? Of course, the one and only that ruined Eric Bond's directorial career! Man, these people must have had a great sense of humor. Personally, I find it fascinating to see a film within a film, like a behind the scenes. Back in the 50s, it was something out of the box to approach it the way Boulevard did. Today, some find this idea overdone, mostly for glorifying Hollywood. But in here, they don't glamorize what a great industry Hollywood is. It's about the dark side of the glamour, the fame and success that can lead to self-destruction if denying our own self-reality. As in this case, both protagonists give up their own sense of reality for delusions of grandeur that has now left them behind. Sunset Boulevard is the tragedy of being loved by the world, only to be left forgotten. Birdman is about the struggle of finding meaning and purpose in our lives, mostly finding meaning in a world of praise and attention that can only spit you out, replace you, and the wheel keeps spinning on. It is the dangers of craving fame and attention, whether it's for selfish reasons or to prove something. Much like in modern age, if someone's confidence depended solely on social media likes, or obsessed to take pictures of yourself to see how gorgeous you look. It is the vanity of living in the shadows of the past, and having these two actors play something closer to their own personal lives made it much more significant.
Which leads me to ask, which of these two is the better one?
Even though they look similar, they are different in their own unique ways. And while I like Birdman, sometimes it is too uncomfortable to get through the miserable moments. Which is why I go with Sunset Boulevard as the better of the two. Because from the beginning till the ending, it's all based on mystery and intrigue. You want to decipher what is real and what is not. You want to know how they got from point A to point B with anticipation. So if you haven't seen it, I'm not gonna spoil it away. What I love about the director, Billy Wilder, is how he gives you all the details in the end, but not all the answers. As to what will happen to his characters. What will happen to Norma Desmond? Will she get better or worse? It is up to us to fill in the blank, which leaves you thinking about it afterwards. He has done it before with Double Indemnity, which is another recommendation. With Birdman, there is no mystery. You know how it ends without giving the ending away. Its prior goal is to be more artsy than anything else. But as much as it has plenty of style, it also has some substance in it. It's psychologically driven with its dark humor, it has very interesting dialogue, and it pokes fun of the modern movies of today, such as the blockbusters and the superhero genre. But for me, Sunset Boulevard stands as the strongest of show business for how impressive it is after almost 70 years, and the drama and suspense still hold up to this date. Are there moments that are outdated? Absolutely.
It's good to see you.
The last time I saw you was someplace very gay.
At moments it's outdated, and at moments feels like it just came out last year. It's a story of dark irony and dark humor, mixing reality with fiction to deliver an unforgettable experience to the red carpet of madness.
And those are my thoughts on Sunset Boulevard and Birdman. Leave your comments down below, see what you think about these films. However, I wonder, what would it be like if Michael Keaton's Birdman ever met Michael Keaton's Batman?
Hey yo, pussy man, you got nothing on me. I made $5 billion in multiple ass-kicking sequels. What do you got left? How many sequels you made that surpass my awesomeness, mama boy? As a matter of fact, I got 2 movies everyone else can see. Where can I find yours? Oh, that's right, I can't, because they're not real, and neither are you. Ha! I am real. I'm so real that I'm an Oscar Award winner. I'm the true definition of what a hero looks like. You just gotta look inside my asshole, see the greatness that is Birdman. Well, it's embarrassing how everyone confuses you to another hero with the same name, which, by the way, I met. Seems like a nice guy. I can't say the same thing from you. You're not original. You play off the originality from others. You're just a fragment of some guy's fantasies you spend most of the time driving insane. I get clowns all the time trying to drive me nuts. Never lose my cool. You're more like a DC idea reject. Ha! You make me sick. Well, I'm Batman.
Okay, that's an interesting scenario, but I still wonder what would happen if we raise the stakes.
Off of my stage, you peasant! Don't you know what the people want to say? They want to see me, no, my Desmond. Why must you take my thunder away? Why? Because I'm Batman. I see. It is the horns that got small. Boing. Oh, don't you cross me, you're not lady. Did somebody say not lady? Who are you? Well, I'm the Birdman. And I'm also Batman. Hey, yo, waste of tea bags! I'm back with my Oscar Award-winning ass! I'm so confused now. Are you ready for your close-up, honey? No!
Pasito tum tum, pasito tum tum.